All Delulu besties, welcome!
This is a safe space to vent, talk shit, reflect, and most importantly, keep it real.
It's better to trauma dump here so that we don't explode on innocent randos. Just admit it, you're bothered.
What's up, Delulu besties? Welcome back to another episode of Balancing the Bullshit.
Hi besties, I missed y'all. You guys are like becoming my favorite thing of the week. I mean, this is kind of all I have going on in my life right now anyway.
You're all we have, so thank you.
Literally, thank you for saving us. Speaking of being saved, I may or may not have canceled on Laura. I didn't cancel on her. Laura, our life coach.
Okay.
I pushed her back a whole month.
Why? You need her.
I know. She's the only one who's really saved me in this life. But, okay, you know how she told us to stop dating?
Yeah.
Okay.
And you didn't listen. Well, neither of us listened.
Yeah, neither of us listened. And I don't know. I mean, obviously it's not like she'll care. It's my life. Like,
right.
She's just here to help me. But it's like having to show up and admit the lack of integrity on my end. Like, I let myself.
Like, you have your tail in between your legs, like, showing up to her, like.
Yeah. Oh, God, I just don't want to admit it.
That's so funny that you're scared.
I know.
To, like, tell her that, because I don't care. Like, I disappoint her all the time. I'm like, yeah, so I did it again. Like, all the time. I do. And, I mean, she never makes you feel bad about it. But I know what you mean. No. It's like, you're like just disappointed in yourself.
Yeah. I think that's what it is.
Oh, you shouldn't be. Also, this is just hilarious. You're like running away from your own life coach. Like,
I'm avoiding my own therapist.
Yeah, like that's not how this works.
And then what am I going to tell her a month from now? Eventually, I'm going to have to tell her.
Like, yeah. So you're running away from something like you're never going to be able to actually run away from. You're going to have to admit it. I mean,
thank you, Danny. Thank you. Yeah, I don't know.
Okay, well, you'll figure it out.
Maybe I wonder if I'm just hoping that like maybe in a month from now we'll be done. Like he and I won't be talking, and then maybe it'll be like easier to like admit it. I don't know.
That's like a backwards way of whatever helps you sleep at night. Okay. Because like you're still gonna need to tell her like, oh, I did this.
Yeah.
So that y'all can address it.
I guess I'm also just scared for what she's gonna say. I don't know. I don't really know what my problem is. Anyway,
because I've been through this before too, where I told her we had decided like dating wasn't what I should be doing, and then I did it anyway, and she was like, I mean, she will humble you for sure, but she's not going to tell you like straight up, be like, why are you doing that? But with me, she was just kind of like, okay, like, let's really think about this, and like made me kind of admit again, like, oh, this is not a good idea.
Yeah. I don't know why, because I've always admitted to her too, like whenever she told me not to date Dawn, and then like a week later, I showed up to our session. I was like, oh, I'm flying out to Miami to see him. Like, I never cared. I don't know why I care so much this time.
Because you're so much farther along, I feel like, than you were before. And like, yeah, you've done so much work. And I feel like this too, like any type of little setback, just you take it even harder.
I think that's what it is.
Yeah. Because you're like, I've been doing so well. I've been doing so much work. Like, why am I still making these same mistakes?
Yes. I think that's what I don't want to confront, which obviously I need to. But yeah, like I've just been doing so much work. I'm like, fuck.
You're like, I thought I was over this.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Ugh.
But it gets better. And I don't know. You notice it gets better and better each time. Like each time you make a mistake, you bounce back faster. You learn more from it. That's what I'm realizing.
Yes. Even I do feel like I've gotten maybe that's actually why, like now it's hitting me hard because like, okay, think about it. Like in the beginning of summer when I went on a few dates with that guy, Zane, and then it took like a month, I think, for that to fizzle out. And then after that, I dated Brian for a few weeks. And I feel like that was even shorter. That lasted maybe only like 2 or 3 weeks. And so I think now, like, how much shorter can it get? I don't know.
Yeah, I think you are just improving more and more. Like, even in the quality of men that you're going out with. Like, the quality is getting better. You're not going for losers, toxic guys, like, you know, guys with lots of red flags.
Yeah.
So, yeah, I think we just remember, don't be so hard on yourself. Like, if you really think about it, you are still doing great. Like, it's not like a linear thing where it's just going to be like, you're never going to make a mistake again.
That is true. And she does always, like, remind me of that.
Yeah. So, listen.
And I do always, like, when I have sane moments, which are, like, not that often, but when I do, I am like, okay, you know what? Because I do put so much pressure on myself to, like, be perfect and not make a mistake. But then I'm like, life would be so boring if it were perfect.
Right. Yeah. And, like, this is the only way for us to really learn this shit, is to live through it and experience and make these mistakes.
Yeah. Like, I never got a rule book in life.
Yeah. Like, this is it's literally the only way. Like, it's...
The rule book is to fail.
Yeah. Over and over again until you
figure it out.
Yeah. Yeah.
Yeah, that's true.
So rebook that appointment. Make it next week.
No.
Make it this week.
What am I going to text her now and be like, just kidding, I lied to you.
Just kidding, I'm not scared anymore.
She's like, what?
Okay, well, don't run from anymore, but I'm glad we talked this out.
Laura, if you're listening, I still love you. Just kidding. God. Is that weird to say to, like, a professional that we pay?
No, I love her too.
Like, sit in the sessions and, like, want to tell her that, but then you hold back because then you're like, wait, I pay you, like, this is professional.
Yeah, there's no way I would ever say that. Like,
me either, but, like, I do.
You say it?
No. Like, I don't say it either, but like yeah, in the sessions, I'm always like, in my head, I'm like, oh, I love you. Thank you for fixing me.
I feel like you could say it, and she would be like,
she'd probably laugh.
Yeah, it'd be fine.
Okay, so Danny and I have a white male privilege issue to address today. It's fucking annoying and it's real. I feel like when I was younger, like, I was confused by what feminism is. And now, because of being a victim of white male privilege, I've become a feminist because now I do believe in empowering other women. And it's not like the way that I used to see it, where I just thought it was weird. Like, women just want to, like, I don't even know how to describe it the way that I used to see it. Like, I used to think it was weird. Like, women just wanted power for no reason. But I think what's really behind all of that is, like, women being taken advantage of by men in power, or not even just men, like corporate America. There's so many, like, power positions in society that suppress women on purpose and belittle us when we're trying so hard to contribute to society. So, okay, whenever I graduated college, the first job that I got, it's so funny because I was like, I've made it. This is my dream job.
LOL.
Little did I fucking know what I was in for.
Yeah.
Ooh,
a nightmare.
Literal nightmare. So I was selling custom clothing and I loved fashion. When I was little, I always wanted to get into fashion. So I was like, oh, perfect. Now I'm going to go into business, do sales, make a ton of money, heal all my childhood trauma that way.
Again, LOL.
Again, yeah. And I'll do fashion. Like, oh my God, my life is made. I'm going to live like a perfect, happily ever after. And then, okay, so I moved out to San Francisco, the most expensive city in all of US. I'm pretty sure it's more expensive than New York. And I was making like $40,000. That was my base pay.
Oh, okay, that was your base pay.
Yeah, but they were like, oh, don't worry. Like, you're going to make 6 figures in commission. So I was like, okay, I'll be able to like pay my bills that way. Well, I wasn't. I think the first year I made, I don't know, $55,000. But like half of your taxes in California or half of your paycheck goes to taxes.
Yeah, that's like nothing.
I was so poor. And okay, so this one guy, Evan, I met him when I was in an appointment for like to sell clothing to another client. And then this guy, Evan, was in their lobby and he was like, oh wait, like you sell custom clothing. I actually just fired my clothing guy. So like, let me get your card. And I was like, oh fuck yeah. Like I just got a new client. And it is crazy because when I would begin appointments, I would always ask basic questions like, oh, do you have family? Are you married? Do you have kids? Like, you know, basic generic questions. Mm-hmm. And this guy was like, oh, I'm single. I live out in LA. I'm just in SF for work. Obviously, he didn't say it's in the first sitting, but like what I remember of him telling me is he had a dog. On the weekends, he liked to just take his dog down to the beach and he just was like a surfer, like single bachelor. So he ended up being one of my top clients. And this is the hard thing because Noah, my ex-boyfriend at the time, had a really bad feeling because I was like so excited. I like went home and was like, oh my God, like this new client, I just sold him all of this. And it's not like he ever met him, but he just had a bad feeling. And anytime that he knew that I would be meeting with this client, he would blow my phone up and like, he's so protective. And it went right over my head because I was like, why? Like he's being crazy. And Noah was never the jealous type, but like, I don't know, I guess guys' instincts, they really do just know when it comes to like how other guys are. But this is how the fucked up thing started to begin with, because like I had to learn, like I obviously had instincts too, where I would be like, this is a little off. I feel like this guy is like maybe being a little bit inappropriate, but not directly hitting on me. And then one of the girls at work, one of the girls on my leadership team that was training me was like, you can't flatter yourself every time a guy is overly nice to you because then you're never going to get any business. Like that was her way of saying like, just look the other way and put up with it unless they like directly and aggressively like sexually assault you, then just look the other way.
Yeah. I feel like that's how a lot of the people at that company were, right?
Oh, like, yeah.
Yeah, they just knew, the girls were just like ignored it. It was part of the job.
Yes. And now looking back, I'm like, why does this company hire all these hot 20-year-olds right out of college? Like it was literally everybody who worked at that company, because we would have sales conferences twice a year with the entire company. It was all like models that no one else could sell for them. Everybody was super skinny, super hot. Fuck that company and fuck the owner.
That's just a huge red flag.
Huge red flag.
Yeah.
Okay. Then I ended up, because I wasn't making any money. Like think about how much money you have to make off of selling fucking clothing in order to make a good living and pay all your bills. It was bullshit. So, and like you have to find your own clients. Like what rich people do I know at 21 years old that are going to buy a suit that's like $5,000? Like what? To pay all my bills? Like no. Yeah. Anyway, back to Evan. He switched over with me when I ended up working for a competitor, because I was like, fuck you guys, I'm not making money. I tried a competitor and then I don't know why I did that. Like that was a waste of my time. But anyway, Evan came over with me to that company and okay, so Alex and I, my best friend from childhood, we took a trip out to California. And while I was in town, I was like, hey, let me text one of my top clients while I'm out here and try to sell to him. So he bought like $10,000 worth of clothing for me that day. And then he always would be like, oh, let's go get drinks like for happy hour. And even that I was always uneasy about, like to begin with, when any client would ask me, because I was like, I feel like this is not professional. And I was so early in my career, like taking everything so seriously, like not wanting to make the wrong move. But again, a girl sat me in her office, and like an older girl that had been there for a while, and was like, well, you know, like if you want to sell, if you want a client, this is what you got to do. Just show up, just have one drink and then leave. But you have to like entertain these men. Like you have to know how to play the game and like feed into their egos.
That shouldn't be a part of the job description, right?
Yeah, but it's the fucking society. It is where we're at. I don't know.
Yeah.
So this time, I met up with him during the day in the San Francisco office, and then classic, like every time he was like, oh, well, what are you doing later? So it used to always be, and I was already used to it at that point. I had been working with him for like a year. And so I knew every time we would meet, he was going to ask to like do happy hour. And I did always only ever have like one drink and then I would go home, especially because Noah would be like blowing my phone up like, come home, fuck now. Mm-hmm. So I really had no other option, which was good. It kept me safe for a while until Noah and I broke up. And then he met up. So this time when after the appointment, he was like, oh, let's do something. And I was like, yeah, let's do like a drink for happy hour. And he was like, oh, I have like a late meeting. So let's meet later. So it was like dinner time. And I was like, okay, whatever. Like I was already kind of comfortable with him because we already had so many times where it was just like one drink at happy hour and like nothing ever happened. So I didn't think anything of it. So Alex and I met him at night for a drink. And then he ended up coming out with us and we ended up, we were like so young. And so we were just partying with him and we ended up passing out in his hotel room and Alex thought he was so cute.
Wait, really? How old is he? Was he?
I would say like, okay, so Alex and I were in our early 20s and then I would say he had to have been in like his mid 40s.
Oh, wow.
Yes.
Okay.
And so she made out with him. And so the way that it worked is like you order the clothing, but then it's custom made to your measurements. Mm-hmm. So it takes about 6 weeks for the clothing to come in. So then once it comes in, then I have to meet back up with you to do a fitting. And then if any like minor tweaks need to be made, then we'll go send them to alterations like with the local tailor. And then we'll meet again like a week or two later just to make sure that it fits. So a few weeks later, the company flew me out there to do the fitting. And he was like, same thing, like shocker, like, oh, let's do happy hour. So I never went to the ambulance the next day. So I have like no proof of this, but I obviously I was so young. I ended up blacking out. So I really think he had to have put something in my drink. Like I hate to blame this on someone. I don't want to like accuse somebody, of like, what's it called? Like drugging me or date raping me. But I mean, for as much as I drank, like my tolerance was so high, especially when I was in my early 20s from like, blacking out every day in college. Mm-hmm. We had one drink. We met at his hotel in the lobby. And then after that, we went to dinner and had another drink there. So like how could I have, and that was over the span of a few hours. And with a meal?
Yeah.
How do I black out on that?
Because I know you and you need a lot more to black out than just that.
So much. I need like shot after shot, like back to back.
Right.
In order to black out.
Yeah, that's very sketchy. And it's scary.
Yeah. So anyway, I don't remember like after dinner, but I woke up in his hotel room. I'm sure we had sex. And I was like, this is so unprofessional. You're fired. We cannot work together anymore. And then I go back to Austin and my shitty ass manager is like, oh, I noticed that your number one client is blacklisted in the system. Like, why did you do that? And then what was I going to say? This manager was an asshole to me. I wasn't just going to open up. And also at the time, I was so young and taking the responsibility for it. Like, I don't know if I was embarrassed. I didn't know I didn't realize that it was rape at the time or that like I had gotten drugged. Like I just felt responsible.
You thought you were blaming yourself.
Yeah. I was blaming myself. So I was afraid to tell my manager, who I had an awful relationship to begin with. He was a micromanager. Yeah. So anyway, shortly after that, I got fired. And
because of that, or
not because of that, like I forgot what his technical reason was.
But like that probably played into
I'm sure. Yeah, I'm sure I just looked like a bad employee. I probably looked sketchy.
Because they lost this big client and like they don't know why.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah, they're like, why is she just blocking these random which like I brought this client in to begin with. It's not your client. Like it's my relationship. But whatever. Anyway. Then Evan called me. So he was going to come. So he lived in LA and he was going to come to San Antonio. Like he had texted me or called me and was like, hey, like I have this award that I have to come receive down in San Antonio, but like, I don't really know if I want to fly all the way down just to receive that. And I was like, yeah, totally. It's only like an hour away from Austin. So I'll drive down and meet you. It's my hometown, and I'll show you some new fabrics that we have, aka like I'm going to sell to you. And he
But
was
this was after you already like blocked him and everything? Like you were still going to work with him?
Yes. So I blocked him immediately, and then my manager was like, why did you block him? So then I unblocked him.
Okay.
And so this was all before I got fired, though.
Yeah.
So the day that we were supposed to meet up in San Antonio, and my manager knew because he was such a micromanager. He was always like, where's your next sale? What are you doing today? Like, where's your next sale coming from? So he knew I was going to drive down and go meet him. And he called me that morning from like a random number and was like, hey, it's Evan. I'm in my office. I slept here last night. So maybe I lied to you, but I actually have a wife and kids. And my wife read through our text last night.
Oh God. I forgot about this. Okay.
You did? Oh God,
Okay,
how could you forget this?
Oh my God.
I mean, because there's so many fucking messy stories I have.
Yeah.
But anyway, he's like, my wife read through our text last night and now I'm not going to San Antonio. Like, she's freaking out on me, but like, I swear you're the first girl that I've ever cheated with. I don't want to lose my wife and kids. I have a family and she's threatening to leave me, and she got your number off my phone and she's threatening to call you. I don't know if she's going to call your work, but just please don't say anything. And I know that you're going to lose a lot of revenue from me not being able to work with you for the rest of the year. So I'll just pay you out on however much you were going to make from me. AKA, I'll pay you out to keep you quiet for when my wife calls. So he ended up paying me, I don't remember, like $4,500. And I like
bullshit.
A, bullshit. B, like, I don't give a fuck. Like,
you.
I don't want to hear any of this. I was like 22 years old. Like, it was so much for me to hear. I was like, I literally keep me out of this. Also, our texts were so professional. They were always just like the time when we're going to meet at the office, then for like happy hour. So clearly he had to have been like a cheater before, because his wife was getting threatened by me selling him clothing, which was like a very normal business relationship.
Yeah.
But yeah, so then after that, I obviously didn't go to San Antonio and have this big sale that my manager was expecting. And I don't remember what happened after that, like what my excuse was. But yeah, then shortly after that, I got fired.
Oh my God.
Yes.
Well, fuck Evan, first of all.
Yeah. And just fuck fucking corporate America. Yeah. And like, I hate to sound like a feminist because I really did not understand until I went through this, but like, white male privilege really is a thing. And like, I don't think the guys even realize kind of power that they hold over little women. I mean, they have to have realized, but like, you know, think about it. I was so young. I was starting out my career. I was so desperate for money. Like, I was living off of a $40,000 base pay. So like, anything I needed to do for commission, I had to learn one way or another. Like, now if a client wants me to go out to happy hour, I have no problem saying no. Like, I have no problem losing the sale over it. Like, I would rather just keep a clean relationship. So I did have to learn, but like, I thought that was normal. I thought going to happy hours was normal with clients. Like, I don't know.
That's so sad. And this was like, I feel like it's better now. It's not resolved, but like since the Me Too movement and everything, like it's much more, like it's much more.
We're starting a conversation around it.
Right. Yeah. And that's not like the norm, I guess. But there's still a lot of companies out there that are like that.
Yeah.
And
I'm sure this is still going on in those companies.
Yeah. And like Tom James specifically, right? I don't know if you said the name.
One. So was not standard.
Sorry. Yeah. Okay. I get them mixed up.
The one that I got fired from after like this whole San Antonio Evan fiasco happened. But when I was at Tom James, the first company that I worked at, sometimes when we wouldn't have our own appointments, we would just go with reps to their appointments and try to like meet, you know, people like coworkers in the office that we could sell to, or try to like meet somebody along the way. So one time I went with this sales rep. It was a guy sales rep. I went with him to his client's office. It was his number one client. And I had seen this client several times because I had gone with the sales rep. I had followed him on like several of his days. And so his number one client knew me. And one day I randomly get an email I think this was actually on my 22nd birthday. And the client, not my client, the other guy's client was like, hey, I'm coming by the office, come outside.
I remember this story.
Yeah. And I wasn't at the office because it was my birthday, so I had left early. So the next day I emailed him back being like, oh, hey, what's up? Like, sorry. And then he was like, I'm going to come by again today. Let me know if you're going to be there. And then when he shows up, he's like, okay, come outside, black Mercedes. I was like, okay, that sounds weird. Uh-huh. Yeah. But, and again, like, I don't know what I was thinking, why I didn't mention it to the sales rep or to anybody in the office. I just, for some reason, I just went out there. And also, I think maybe part of it was because we all did our own thing. Like, we were out in the field selling all day long. So we were on our own. So maybe that's why I didn't think to say anything to anybody. And because like, I didn't know that I was going to get fucking sexually harassed. Like this shit doesn't cross my mind. So anyway, I go out to his car and he's like, hey, I know it was your birthday. So I got you some gifts. He got me a custom made hat. One day we were like, just because we always had to carry tape measures on us to like get their body measurements for their suits and clothing. And we were just like fucking around and he was like, let me measure your head. I didn't realize that it was because he was going to order me a custom made hat.
Weird.
Yeah. So he got me that and a custom made gold necklace with diamonds.
Oh.
This man.
Okay.
This man was like, probably in his 80s. He walked with a cane.
He was super old.
Yes.
He's like Tom Girardi. I'm just like picturing Tom Girardi.
Literally a Tom Girardi. That's what he looked like, actually.
Like liver
and
spots
that old
and everything.
Yeah.
Dentures.
Yes.
Like, why don't you just retire?
Literally, yeah. Like, I'm sure he's retired now. He was fucking old.
Yeah.
I was 22. And I remember in his office one day, I saw, I think it was... I would die. I wish. No, it was his grandson's...
grandson?
Yes. Yes.
Okay.
His grandson's invitation for like, I think it was his college graduation.
Y'all are the same age.
Literally.
That's wild.
So, yeah, I'm in his car. He's giving me these gifts. I'm like, oh, that's so sweet. Thanks so much. And then he like tries to grab me and like tries to kiss me and I turned my head. So luckily he only kissed my cheek.
Ooh.
But yeah, then he's like, oh, like I would love to make this a thing and like, you know, I want to spoil you. I know I would always joke when I like was early in my career not making any money being like, oh, I just want a sugar daddy. But like it actually like,
you don't want a sugar daddy.
No, it like my stomach, what's that saying? My stomach dropped or
turned.
Yeah, whatever. Like, you know what I'm trying to say.
It didn't feel good.
Yeah, no, I was so disturbed.
I'm disturbed. And,
okay, here's the more fucked up part. So then I went up and I told the manager, I was like, I'm not sure what happened. Like, and again, I was taking all the responsibility. I was crying and I was like, here are the gifts. I don't want them. You can have them. Like, I don't know if they're company property or like what, but like, I'm so sorry. Like, if you want to fire me, I understand. Like, I don't know what I did to give him that impression, but like, if you don't want me representing the company, if this is the vibe that I'm giving off, like, I totally understand. Fire me now.
Yeah.
And she was like, no, like, it's not your fault. You just come off as like really innocent and guys, like older guys want to take advantage of that. Yeah. Exactly what we were talking about in the last episode. Like when we're just so sweet and innocent and naive, we're an easy target for fucking assholes who want to find somebody to manipulate and take advantage of. So then she called the sales rep in there, like the guy's rep. And told him, and he just was like, oh, I'm sorry he made you feel uncomfortable. We'll take care of it. Then next week, guess who's in the fucking office?
The old ass man.
Yes.
Who tried to kiss you.
Yes.
Ugh.
So the company did not have my back.
No morals.
No morals, just whatever you need to do to get money, whether it's taking advantage of little girls. I mean, that's what the whole company is. They only hire hot young girls. So like, obviously, what are they going to do to help me? Like literally nothing.
Yeah. That's terrible. And it's like...
That's the world we live in.
Yeah. And I can see that industry specifically being really bad about that because you're selling to rich men,
old men in power.
And they're the worst thing about society. Like,
yes.
Everything.
Fucking white privilege.
Yeah. I mean, just think about, just the white men in general. Like, I don't know what the percentage is, but like why are the majority of shooters, white men.
Oh, really?
Yeah. You know, it's just the reason that we're in wars all the time is because of men.
Yes.
Like everything, like all these terrible things that are happening around us all the time is because of men like this.
And yeah, it's not even just for women that they attack. The simplest way to put it is men would rather avoid therapy. Like they would rather, whether it's a shooting or take advantage of little girls or whatever, but anything to just not have to do therapy. This is how they deal with their own internal shit.
Mm-hmm.
Why is this okay?
I agree.
God.
Ugh, well, I'm so sorry you had to go through that. That's disgusting.
Thanks. I know.
Do you have any advice, like if anyone is going through that now? You had to go through it kind of like the hard way and learn, but if you could do anything differently or if you could give any advice, what would you say?
It's so hard because for my personal situation, well, two things. One, I think even just me sharing my story will go a long way because, you know, everybody at these companies made this all normalized and okay. Like no one did anything to help me. So it kind of just made me think that it wasn't a big deal until now that I'm older. I'm like, wait, oh my God, that is not okay. And like, now, had I been working at the company, oh my God, I would have popped off and tore that company to shreds.
Yeah.
But I didn't realize at the time that that was wrong. So I hope that if somebody comes across this story now and hearing it from me, then they'll be able to realize like, oh, this isn't okay. And I can stand up for myself. Yeah. Or speak up or do whatever it is that you feel like you need to do. But then taking it even farther, like, obviously, no matter what situation, like you can plan everything out perfectly and life is still going to happen. Nothing's going to go according to plan. You're going to end up in situations one way or another. But just going back to like my childhood trauma and how I was chasing money for the wrong reasons, which is why I even got into sales. Like when you're going down the wrong path, chasing the wrong things, like it's kind of not a coincidence or like shocking to me that I ended up in this situation.
Yeah, I think it's also like the universe trying to like warn you and
give
like
you get the fuck
signs
out.
Like this is not where you're supposed to be. Like let me throw you all these shitty situations and experiences so that you'll wake up and get out of there.
Yeah. So that's also kind of what I want to say. Stay true to who you are. Like if you're not meant to be somewhere, don't. But then again, at the same time, no matter like what path we're on, I mean, life is going to happen. It's not ever going to go perfectly.
Yeah. And I think it's unfortunate, but like, yeah, there's really no other way around it. You kind of really have to experience like really, you know, hard situations, go through a lot of uncomfortable things to learn. Yeah. I wish there was an easier way. You know, it's hard to just do it without experiencing something really traumatic or something that really pushes you in a different direction, if you know what I mean. So
yes, that's what I'm saying. I guess the least we could do is just talk about it and bring awareness to it, and then hopefully that'll help somebody in that situation, like maybe get out of it sooner, or like we said, just speak up for yourself. Yeah.
Okay, well, let's switch to something more positive.
Okay, I have a happy preachy point.
Okay, let's hear it.
Okay, I am big on nourishing your mind, body, and spirit. I kind of learned this from, I don't even know if it was from yoga or where, but I swear this is a good philosophy to live by. So there's either like type A personalities when you're full in control, and there's another way to describe it. Like you're literally in control of your own destiny and like in charge of everything. Or you could just be laid back and go with the flow and like kind of let the universe bring everything to you. Like it's more of like being in your feminine power, like where you don't chase, you attract. Yeah.
And I think like the old school way of thinking is definitely like the type A way, like be in control, like go after what you want. Like
that's what the fucking white male privilegers do. Fuck them.
Yeah. So don't do it that way. Do it your way.
Okay. So it goes to nourishing your mind, body, and spirit. So if you think about it, when I go on runs on the trail, it's not even just nourishing my body physically to let go of like all the steam. It's like I feel lighter afterwards. So it's good physical exercise. But since I'm out in nature, I'm doing it on the trail. It also like feeds my soul. And so it's like nourishing my body and my soul and my mind too. Like a good way to nourish your mind is also meditating, but running is also like another form of meditation. And then same with yoga. It's one form of meditation, but it's also physical exercise. So when you go, you're nourishing your soul, your mind, and your body. So when you're nourishing your mind, body, and spirit, like you've done the work to like it's like all four of you, like all three of those things plus you, like you all are working together as a team. So then it's like not just you having to be in control. And it's a simpler way to think about it is like, if you eat healthy, you're nourishing your body and your mind that way so you can think clearly and more sharp. And so then you can like, that's when you can kind of just like sit back and let the universe deliver. I don't know. Do you have a simpler way of like helping this make sense? Like, am I making sense?
You are making sense.
Okay.
Yeah. And I do this too. It's just, you have to, first of all, eliminate things that are not nourishing your mind, body, and soul.
Yes.
Like the distractions and everything. I think really just for me, what helps is doing things like yoga and being in nature. Like that's a huge part of it. Like, and sunlight too. Just like get outside. And it's even, you know, I've read lots of studies on this, like be outside without even any noise. Like just go for a walk, like don't even have music on or a podcast or anything, and just really have that time to yourself to just come back down to earth and just connect with yourself.
Yeah, it's like connecting with yourself and with nature. It does wonders. I swear, like puts you in tune with your intuition. And so like not only does it relax you, but then you can really trust that everything's going to work out. Like that's how you get into flow state, where you just like go with the flow. And when you're going with the flow, that's when whatever gets thrown your way, then you can trust that it's from the universe. It's for your highest good. Like everything's happening for you, not to you.
Yeah. And this is actually kind of funny you brought this up, because last weekend I mentioned I didn't do anything. This past weekend I didn't do anything. And it's just like, I just had this, I mean, it doesn't sound like a huge epiphany, but it just started to click how kind of like the manifesting works. It's like when you have everything like so fine-tuned, I guess, and like you're just, like you said, all like your mind, body, and soul is so nourished, you're not going to make the wrong decisions. Like you're going to know what decisions to make, and that is going to eventually lead you to what you want to manifest. And it's like I never really thought of it that way. When I would hear manifesting, I would just think of like, oh, you just really focus on this one thing and then it'll eventually come true. But now it makes sense that you have to have everything within yourself like so aligned. You have to just be really connected to yourself so that you trust like not to make even the smallest little decisions that are going to stray you off the path.
Yes.
Because you have like,
that's what I'm trying to say. Like when you nourish your mind, your body, and your spirit, then it's like whatever decision you make, you can trust that it's like your higher self making that decision, and you don't have to be the one in control, like worrying about what decision it is.
Yeah.
So that's how
you just know.
Like manifesting works, but like your mind, body, and spirit all have to be aligned with each other in order for manifesting to work.
Right. That's the only way it's going to work. You can't really do it without it. And it's
you can't control it.
Yeah. And it's kind of crazy, but it's just like a beautiful thing to realize. Like I used to think like manifesting was like, someone would mention that to me as like, oh, like I don't know anything about that. Like that's so like magic, really. I was like, I didn't even know. I was like, I honestly like don't even think I believed. I just didn't think like it was real. I had it in me to do anything like that.
Yeah.
But now that I've started kind of nourishing my mind, body, and spirit, like I get it. It's a lot. I mean, it's not easy, but like once you get there, it starts to feel easy in a way. It's just like
making a new lifestyle.
Yeah.
That's the hard part. I guess it's like getting fit. It's not easy at first getting into habit, but then when
it's just like building a habit, it's like, it's pretty much the same. It's just like building new habits.
Yeah.
It's like, it's hard, but it's not as hard as it seems.
Yeah.
From the outside, I guess.
It seems confusing, but then once you just start doing it, like just go out and start running on the trail and then, or even walking, and you'll get it.
Yeah. Yeah. So that has helped me tremendously. Yeah. Once you're there, like with jobs, friendships, relationships, you're just going to know where to go. And yeah, it's just going to get you to, that's how you manifest. Like that, it's just going to get you to where you want to go. So, and it also, once it starts to click and you finally start to feel it, it's like, I don't know if you feel like it, it's like an addicting kind of thing. You're like, it feels so good. You're like, oh my God, I want to keep going. Like, where else can I take this? Like, where else I could go? Yeah.
And you're just like in such a clean space, like energetic frequency. Unless you've been there, I don't even know how to explain it.
Yeah, I feel that from time to time. I'm still like on my journey. Like I still have a lot of resistance that I have to work with. I'm kind of like in and out of the resistance, and
which is so normal.
Yeah, we can go into that more on another episode, like resistance. But yeah, it's just each week I feel it's just like it's less and less. Like I used to get stuck resisting things for like weeks and weeks at a time or months at a time, and then I'd have to like learn my lesson or something. But now now it's like I'm resisting a little bit. I'm uncomfortable for a few days, and then okay, let me make the right decision, and and it just goes from there.
It's crazy. I remember I would resist something for like a year or 2 years, and now it's all the way down to like, well, I'll resist it for like 30 minutes.
Yeah, even less sometimes. Yeah, it's crazy.
Yeah, we should definitely do.
We'll touch on that because there's a lot to talk about on that. One other just like random crazy question I have: do you believe in like spirit guides and like angels? Like guiding
absolutely.
You? Yeah. I started like looking into that more recently, and I'm intrigued. Like I haven't connected with them in that way, but I don't know. How do you think they are guiding you? For me, I feel like it's a lot of like, I don't like hear voices or anything like that, but like signs.
Okay, so it's crazy because God, the universe, your higher self, your spirit guides, I kind of think it's all the same thing. Like all your higher self, I don't think maybe there is. Like I'm still trying to figure that part out. Like I don't know if there's necessarily a team like working for you. I kind of feel like maybe it's just your higher self. But one thing, I actually think I saw this in a TikTok video and it made it click for me. Is when you think you're like speaking to your spirit guides, whenever I guess really for anything, not even if you're just manifesting, but like if you need to reach out to them, like, hey, if you're stuck on a decision and you don't know what to do, you could be like, spirit guides or universe, God, literally whatever you want to call it, please guide me in the right direction. If I'm meant to do this, then show me an owl or a giraffe or like whatever object you can
or just like
it.
For me, it's like would just be like some sort of sign that I'm going to recognize. Yes. You know what I mean? Like I don't even have to be maybe specific with it, but
So sometimes I wondered like, oh, is there like this team of like angels that we can't see that like then they're literally sending us a sign as soon as we ask for it? But then on this TikTok video I saw, it talked about how like our lives, like, you know, when you have deja vu, it's things that have already happened or that are going to happen in the future. So it's like our lives, like they've been carved out. Like we pick our life before we come live it because we're just like spirits. And so we know, our subconscious knows like if we are going to pass an owl in the next day or two.
Oh, I just got chills. That's so cool. I have never like heard it put like that.
Yeah. So isn't that interesting? Because then that made me think, okay, well maybe there's not like a physical team surrounding me. Maybe it is just my higher self, like already knowing, hey, ask this because I already know that you're going to see that like in a day or two.
Yeah.
I don't know, but whatever it is, it's out there.
It makes, I believe it because I experience signs sometimes. And I feel like we're all experiencing signs. It's just getting to a place where you can recognize them. Yeah. Like I feel like everyone all the time is experiencing signs. Like
has them.
That's like pushing them in the right direction. But so many of us are just distracted and kind of blinded by other things. So it's a really cool concept. Yeah.
And like, it sounds so scary to let go of the control because you're like, what am I just going to trust this random thing that there's no proof on, like no physical proof that I can see.
Right.
So it is really hard to just let go and have blind faith, but it's a much better way to live than trying to control everything.
Yeah. It's very comparable to religion. Like, if you're practicing religion that's, you're worshiping God, that's just never connected with me because we have to live by someone else's rules and first someone else and not ourselves. That's why I connect with this kind of spirituality so much more.
Yeah, because it's kind of your individual path.
Yeah, I don't know, there's just something so much more positive and meaningful and just lighter than that instead of worshiping someone.
I got raised Catholic, and I think it started out with the right idea, like the same spiritual path that we're talking about, but then they somehow just turned it into control and money and power.
Yeah, and judging others and like you have to live exactly like this, like we all have to live the same.
Which is ironic because that's literally the opposite of spirituality, which is what we're practicing.
Yeah. Like, so this
is like follow your own path.
Right.
Like, be your person.
And I used to, it's funny because like I used to say, oh, people who believe in God are so ridiculous. Like, how could they? But now I get it. Not that I believe in like that specific God, but like now I understand why you can have that belief because because now I'm a spiritual person. I never thought I would be because it's kind of like we can't prove it. It's like it seems like magic or make believe to some people, but it's I don't know how else to explain it except that like you just have like a feeling of knowing.
Yeah,
and it's just working out. Your life is just working out when you follow this path, I guess.
Yeah, it's so much easier and effortless. Mm-hmm. I feel like the way I would explain God, even with religion and spirituality, is like it's a source of energy. It's like an energetic force.
Okay, I know what you mean. Yeah, and energies it's all around us all the time.
Yeah.
Yeah. Anyways, this is why we are called the Lulu Besties, because I understand this like sounds delusional, but I swear.
Welcome to the club.
Yeah, besties. I swear this shit is real. And
I swear, yeah.
I mean.
And you take it from us. We used to be the two blackout, most toxic queens, self-sabotagers on
the planet. You've heard our stories. Like,
if we're here, like, claiming that this shit is real, like, anybody can do this. If we could do
absolutely.
it, we can.
Yeah, I would not agree to start a podcast on this stuff if I didn't think this is the real deal. Like, you can help a lot of people in this way. So, yeah.
Anyway, we love you, Delulu Besties. Thanks for hanging with us, and we'll catch y'all next week.
See you next time.